everybody, today we're going to start on our Home Sewn mini quilt project. Home Sewn is a series of mini quilts with these nice little houses. Here's a camper, they'll have a little sewing machine in the window. These are by Kimberbell. I'll make sure this is linked below for you. We're going to start working on volume 1, which is April, May, and June. There's a cute little quilt for each month. These are made on your embroidery machine and they can be made in a 5x7 hoop. What we're going to do today is pull fabric and felt and all the fun stuff. Let's dive right in. Kimberbell did provide me with the felt and the Microvelvet for this project. The ice blue embroidery felt, pink parasol embroidery felt, azalea pink, and moss green Microvelvets. I've had some question about embroidery felt, so I brought in a couple of different kinds of felt to do a quick comparison. Let's look at that, and after we do that, we're going to pull our fabrics. Kimberbell embroidery felt comes in a variety of colors. These are the two colors I just showed for this project. I also have a spring and summer pack, a fall and winter pack, and I have some random colors in my stash. On the back of the package, it lets us know that their felt is a premium polyester, iron-friendly, machine-washable product. I went ahead and grabbed one of my open rolls, and then I have some craft felt, and I have a Moda felt scrap bag. We're going to compare the felt. I'm going to get into this scrap bag, and I've used this for lots of projects. These are nice to have for crafts because you get a bunch of different colors. I've used a lot of the brighter colors and I use them for applique. You can see there's some fusible on the back of that one. But what I really want to show with this is the different thickness. This piece of felt is really thick. See how thick that is? Let's put a piece of, this is the Kimberbell embroidery felt right next to it. Can you see the difference in the thickness? This is thinner, this is flatter. This is wool. This Moda scrap bag is wool felt. You're going to want to be really careful if you iron over this. In the scrap bag, there's also felt that kind of has different textures to it. It depends on the color and the feel of the felt. The black also feels different. This feels really, really fuzzy. These colors are flatter looking. They've got a bit of a texture to them. When you look at the Kimberbell embroidery felt, it's even. I don't really see, like here you've got some lines running through it. This has got a nice even texture. And again, depending on the color in this scrap bag, some of them are almost like a double thickness and the others are thinner and kind of have a weave look to it. This kind of felt probably would work. I would go with the thinner ones. I don't think I would use the thicker ones on my embroidery machine. I'd be worried that they would get caught with the presser foot. But this is good quality wool felt, but again, it's wool. You have to be careful as far as washing and ironing. I also have some craft felt. This is the cheap stuff you buy online. You can probably see my hand through it, I'm not sure. It's very thin, it's very see-through. It's kind of almost like a papery cardboard texture. It has a fuzzy feel on one side. This side on the back feels more like paper. I use this to line the back of things that I put in embroidery hoops. So I cover the back of the embroidery hoop, or you can use it for paper crafting, felt crafting. I don't think I would use this kind of, it's really thin, cheap, inexpensive felt on the Kimberbell projects. I don't think it would hold up very well. You can really see the difference between the quality of this one and then you can see through the pink mat underneath. I will be using Kimberbell embroidery felt for this project. If you have any more questions about felt, leave them below for me. I'll do my best to answer. But as far as can I buy Kimberbell at whatever location, it just depends where you live. Some quilt shops carry them. I have no idea as far as craft shops who carries what. They're different from store to store. You just have to find out, call your store, go to your store, look online. The other Kimberbell product I have is the Microvelvet. It's a nice product. It's not very thick. It almost looks like satin on the back and the fuzzy is only on the front. It says it's 100% polyester, machine washable. So if you're looking for something else other than the Kimberbell Microvelvet, you're going to want to check and try and make sure it's comparable. For today's video, I'm going to go through pulling the fabric from my fabric stash, how I do that, and then we'll look at threads, how we can match up our threads. Other items that you will need are project batting, fusible backing, and light mesh cutaway stabilizer. I showed this in the Home Sewn product preview video. This is the embellishment kit. I would recommend getting this. This has all the really nice little mini quilts on it, the twine, the clothespin. I'll make sure this is linked below. You need one kit for all 12 mini quilts. So this is all you're going to need. There's a picture of what's inside for that. Let's start pulling fabric. What I like to do is look at the list, look at the picture, decide, do I want to try and make it just like the picture? Is there something I want to change? This one I like just like the picture. I will tell you, heads up, coming down the road, when we make the camper, see how it's a blue camper? I'm making a pink camper. I'm going to change the color on that one. But for this one, I think the colors are really nice. We'll go ahead and try to emulate what's here. You might have noticed some writing right here. I started pulling everything. The first thing I looked at was the background. I have some Riley Blake confetti cotton cloud. It's a white, but it's not like screaming bright white. It's almost like an eggshell white, very soft. I think this is going to look really nice. I have a bolt of this. I like to buy bolts when I can, when they go on sale. I look at a bunch of different online quilt shops and get all their little sale alerts and everything. So I had a bolt of this. I'm going to use this for the background. As we go through, I'm going to be pulling from some fat quarter bundles. I've been collecting fabric for a while. Before I started doing long arm quilting and making all the YouTube videos, I worked as a full-time pharmacist. We have an animal sanctuary and never travel or go anywhere or eat out or do anything. So as long as all the bills were paid and all the animals were taken care of, I was free to kind of purchase an awful lot of fabric. So let's use it. I have bundles here of Kimberbell fabrics. This is the Kimberbell Silky Solids collection. I need some solids. Then I have all 4 seasons. This is Kimberbell Basics Spring. This says summer, winter. This must be fall. Let's look at our picture and start pulling fabric. You can see we start with fabric 2, which are the clouds. There's the clouds right here. I did print it in color, but I have this up on my phone so I can zoom in to see if I have the exact matching fabric. You can see the lines on this and it looks gray. In the Kimberbell Winter Collection Fat Quarter Bundle, it's right there. I'm pretty sure that's the exact fabric. Now, if you're not working with the same fabrics, look at the picture. You can pull whatever color you want for your clouds. I would go with a gray or something like this. It has a little bit of a print to it. You can certainly use a solid. This just gives it some dimension. What I'm going to do as I pull my fabrics to keep track of everything is make a note on here that this came from my Kimberbell Winter Bundle. So I'm going to write Kimberbell Winter on there. And I've got some sticky notes here. I'm going to write clouds, because after I pull everything, I have to cut everything. And I try not to waste a bunch of paper, so I'll trim them. It says clouds. Put it on that fabric, and we'll set that aside. Our next fabric is the roof. It's yellow. I need to zoom in and figure out if they used a solid yellow or if there's a textured yellow. This is where the phone comes in handy. You can zoom in and look at the picture. That looks like a solid yellow. And I don't think I have that in the little Kimberbell solid bundle. These are the silky solids. I don't see yellow. I'm going to go to my shelf and see if I have a nice yellow that looks like that picture. You may have seen these in some of my videos before. For 2023, I joined Fat Quarter Shop's Solid of the Month Club, and I sewed along and I made this quilt. They were bird themed. See how this says Goldfinch Bella Solids? This one has a bunch of yellows. Didn't use an awful lot to make these quilts, so I have a rainbow of solids to choose from. The pattern tells us I only need a fat 16th. I can pull this out and try and find a yellow that looks like the yellow in the picture, or if you want a different color roof, you can pick a different color roof. This is how I pull stuff. Obviously we're not going to pull the browns. That's way too bright. This is more mustard. Probably this one or this one. Let's pull these out. This is another way to pick fabrics. When I lay them all together, that helps as well. Too bright, too dark, too pale, this one. That's how I pull fabric. There we go. There's my yellow roof. I wrote down FQS for Fat Quarter Shop, Goldfinch Bundle. I have my sticky note for roof. I'm going to set it over here. The next fabric we have to pull is for the chimney and the house. Looks like it's gray. I'm going to get on my phone and zoom in and see if it's a solid or a print. This looks like a solid, and when I look at the silky solids from Kimberbell, I have a gray. Let's pull those out and look at the grays. I've got an ivory here. Here's the gray. It looks a little bit darker than the picture. The picture looks more like a silvery gray. This almost has a brown undertone to it. And this is a blue, kind of like a really cold, cool looking gray. We have this fabric here, which is more of a blue. I think I'm going to go back over to the shelf and see if I've got some gray. Here's a good gray. This is Bella Solid Zen Gray. You see I've got a bolt here. I remember getting this to make a quilt, and I've also used it as backing. So part of the bolt is gone, but obviously I have plenty. We're going to use this for our house. I make a note, bolt Zen Gray, so I know what color I'm using. Not only does this help me just keep track in general, after I've cut everything, I can put everything away where it needs to go. And then as we go through and we work on these, this is going to be a year-long project. If I notice the same fabric in another tiling scene, I can go back and refer to my notes. Fabric 5 is the door. You'll notice it says door 3 and door 5. Why does it say that? Because we're working in tiles. Here's tile 1, tile 3, tile 5. So there's a little piece here and a little piece here. Something to think about as you're pulling your fabric for your door. I recognize this print. I think I have this print, but you're going to have a seam right here. So if it's going to bother you that the print might not match up perfectly, don't pick a print, pick a solid color. Let's see if I have this fabric. That fabric right there is in the Kimberbell machine embroidery kit. This one is for the blossoms and bouquet bookmarks. I've got some squares in here. Let's see if I have any of that left. Right there. And I have 2 pieces, so I should have plenty. You need a 2 by 2.5 and a 2.5 by 4. Yep, so a 5-inch square is going to be fine. There's that fabric. If you happen to have that kit or any of the book kits, I think this was used for the book cover as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. Check your scraps. I made a note. It came from the bookmark kit. Fabric 6 are our windows, the goose, and an optional mini quilt back. I'm going to go ahead and use the confetti cotton cloud, except for my goose. I have an idea for the goose. I have some really nice Kaufman flannel. It's white. I bought this to make stockings with. I used it on my Let It Snow pillow. It's great for the cuff of a stocking. Nice, soft, fuzzy flannel. It doesn't really shred. I'm going to use this for the goose. As I go to pull the fabric for the tree, there's also green in the grass. I don't have either one of these fabrics, at least not that I can find. The tree is a darker green than the grass. Let's look at the greens that I have. I just found the Petals and Prose book cover. There is that blue again. In this bag, and I'm not sure at this point, I think some of my things might be getting mixed up, but included in this is a nice bundle of fabric. And there's green in here. I don't remember using green in that project, but this is a really nice green. I think this will look good for the tree. They show a green with a polka dot. This is a very similar color. You need a piece that's 4 by 5 and 2.5 by 4. So I can get that out of 2 of these squares. Let's pull that for the tree. Here's a close-up of that fabric. Now that I have my tree fabric, I can pick the grass fabric. I've been kind of hunting around for it. I'm not finding that anywhere. I did think about maybe using a light green embroidery felt, which I do have, but I really like the way this looks. You can see that this is a print that has little flowers on it. I think it'll be a little bit too boring if I use that solid, so I need to find a nice light green that's got some kind of print. When I go through all of these bundles, this is the lightest green. It's really close to the color that I've picked for the tree. I think I'm going to dive into my fabric stash and see if I have something that's a little bit lighter. I've pulled some fabrics from the Lori Holt Mercantile line. This is another, I bought it on sale thing around the holidays. I bought a half-yard bundle of it, so I have a lot. I've got this green with flowers, this green, and it's got the colored dots and flowers. And then this is almost a pale pinky green with green flowers. So let's take our tree fabric and go like this. This is a no, it's too dark. Pull that out, and then looking at the picture, you need to think about what else is going to be on your background. So when I look at this, we've got a pink umbrella and the pink, I think they're using the Microvelvet for the rain boots. Let's look. Rain boots, Microvelvet. Yes. So here's the Microvelvet. I think it's going to blend in too much if I pick this one that's got the colored flowers, even though I like it. I'm going to go with that. That looks nice. It doesn't clash with the tree. It's got some flowers to it. That'll make a nice backdrop here for all these other elements. Next we have the tree trunk, which is a solid brown. But in with this Kimberbell Basic Fall collection, there's this brown. This is the same print that I pulled for the cloud, but I think this will look really good as a tree trunk. It gives it a little bit of variation versus a solid brown. It kind of looks like bark. I'm going to pull that for the tree trunk. As we go down the list, fabric 10 is our backing, the hanging sleeve, and the binding. I am going to do that. I'll add the backing. I will add the hanging sleeve. I'm going to be using the T-stand for this. I show it in the product preview, so we'll learn how to do that. And of course, we'll need binding. I'm going to wait until after I make the project and then have a look at it and pick a color. For the embellishments, we have Umbrella 5, that's the pink parasol felt, Rain Boots 5, the Microvelvet, the Azalea Pink Microvelvet, and then we'll be using the mini quilt panel, the twine, the mini clothespins, and of course our paper tape. That's my parrot squeaking in the background. He is just on it today. The next thing I want to do is pull my thread. They gave all the colors in Glide, which makes this much easier for me. You can look online and find conversions. Kimberbell does have a partial thread conversion in one of their blogs. It doesn't have all of the colors. I like to use the color card. I've shown this before. It actually has thread inside of it, so you can really see what the colors look like. And since they give the color number, like this is black 11001, when you look it up in your card, you can look for 11001 right there. There's black. It's really easy to find using the color card. I'll link that below for you. I'm going to go pull all of these colors and come back and show you what I picked. I've got all my thread colors pulled. One thing I do when I pull threads, if I don't have a good match, I'll look at the thread and I'll go through the design and I'll look at where is this being used. You can see here I have a note, this Magic Mint, that's for the raindrops. I changed it to a light blue. I didn't have a really good match for the Magic Mint. I think I actually have it pulled for another project, so I went with a light blue. And my celery and my clover are a bit different because my fabrics for my tree and my grass are different than what's in the picture. I had to make sure that the stitching here for the leaves was going to show on my fabric for the grass, which is a bit darker than what's pictured here. Threads with PF are Floriani. Threads with an S in front are Sim thread. What I like to do is keep everything in one of my rope bowls. This is a fabric wrap rope bowl. I've got a video on my channel showing you exactly how to make this. I'm going to put everything in here. As we work through the project, I'll hold up the colors. So when something calls for, like this one is shadow, I'll hold it up and I'll show it to you, and I'll show you the color number. We'll work through everything step by step. We'll make the entire tiling scene together. We'll go through each of these for the whole series of the tiling scenes. I have a video I just posted on my channel. I'll link it below. It's showing all the projects that I have to work on right now. I do all of this myself, so all of the prep, all the filming, of course making the projects, and all of the editing. As a Kimberbell affiliate, certain things are sent to me, like Home Sewn, Forest Friends, Hoop Studio, Perfectly Pieced. They're very generous, and I need to make sure I'm working on things in a timely manner. I'm also doing some traditional quilting just for fun, the Quilted Farm Girl and Social Lights 3. So please be patient as I work through everything. I'll try to post everything as fast as I can, but I know some people are still thinking about this project, waiting for fabric kits, not sure if they want to purchase it yet, so I'll make sure there's a link below. Please consider using my links. I receive a tiny commission, but more importantly, it lets Kimberbell know that people are watching my videos. I'm going to get all of this cut, prep, laid out. As you're working through this, anything with the heart has fusible on the back, so remember to put your fusible on those fabrics that have the little green heart next to it. And then I will cut the backing, the hanging sleeve, and the binding. After we stitch this out and everything's sewn together, we'll pick colors for that. Comments or questions, please leave them below. I'd really like to know if you found this helpful. Do you like seeing the fabrics? Do you like seeing how I pull the fabrics, how I keep everything organized? Let me know. Since I don't have fabric kits for any of this, I'll need to pull fabric for each one of these. If you'd like me to make videos for those, definitely let me know and I can do that. Otherwise, I'll just pull fabric off camera and have everything ready to go, and we'll jump in and do the stitch out. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. You can click the little bell for notifications so you don't miss any videos, and I'll see you soon. We'll be stitching out the April tiling scene for Home Sewn. See you next time.